we've lost that connection. It's basically gone. It's a connection that we once had. It's the connection that the ancient Egyptians was talking about getting back. And just thinking about being locked in and tapped in to being connected to everything, to all of a sudden, you're out. And you're like, woo, trying to figure out what the hell happened and get this connection back and understand, how you was tapped into this energy flow that seems to be put here and was, available to us. But we lost the knowledge of how to really tap into it. Now, I talked about this before about how the pineal gland as well has crystals. And it says here, the pineal gland, crystal transducer with scientific basis. It is located in the hidden center of the brain. It is pine cone shaped and no bigger than a raisin. Incredibly, it is actually bioluminescent, meaning it glows. So glows within the darkness of the brain as if lit by a tiny light bulb, and has also been found to be sensitive to light. Interestingly enough, the anatomy of the pineal gland actually consists of a lens, cornea, and retina. I talked about this before, just like our eyeballs. Also, according to scientist Dr. Graham Blackwell, a large number of small crystals have been found in the gland called calcite microcrystals. They bear a striking resemblance to the calcite crystals in the inner ear that we was talking about before. Makes sense. That have been shown to exhibit the qualities of an electric field known as piezoelectricity, which we talked about. If the pineal gland crystals exhibit the same qualities, then this would provide a means whereby an external electromagnetic field might directly influence the brain. Since we have one that influences the heart, it would make sense. It says here, at close magnification, the calcite microcrystals are visible on the actual gland. Therefore, it is probably not surprising why over centuries of human history, esoteric groups consider the pineal gland, or all-seeing eye, to be our built-in wireless transmitter, enabling us to connect to higher frequencies in spiritual worlds. You can see representations of this pine cone-shaped gland in the form of a pine cone across Europe and Egypt. The Vatican built the court of the pine cone, which is adorned with a large pine cone in front of its entrance. It is also found on the staff of the Pope and the Egyptian god Osiris, where the Pope, of course, got it from. Crystals everywhere. I remember you had the whole story about the little girl that cried. Crystals. This is something that we see. It's something that when people talk about this connection, and the reason why I have to give it to you like this is, as I said before, you got to have the facts. You got to be able to really talk about and show people this connection with crystals, because a lot of people are just not going to understand it. A lot of people look at it as a fad, but it's more to it that people need to understand, instead of just walking up to people all crazy and saying, these crystals are going to give me powers. Now, a lot of people don't understand about every single mineral is found within our body. Plain and simple. A lot of people don't think about stuff and look at charts. The stuff that makes up everything that we see is found within our body. Plain and simple. And you got to think about that. I mean, we're talking about atoms, which everything is made of atoms. And the elements that make up everything that we see is made up of different amounts of atoms. So it don't matter what it is. It's made up of different amounts of atoms, which everything at its basis is made up of atoms. So it's just because this, microphone or this camera or what have you, whatever it may be, has different amounts of hydrogen atoms put together in different ways and forms to make, give it its makeup, it's still at its core made up of, atoms, which we all have. So, I mean, even trees, you got the basic, 6 elements for trees can be found in us. You have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, make up trees. All this stuff can be found. We can find all this stuff within us. All this stuff exists. It's out there. And a lot of people just not going to make that connection or look at the world and see how all this stuff is basically the same. All this stuff comes from elements. We are the energy that make up these elements. We are producing what we see. This stuff comes from us. It's within us. So they got to think about, anything that is not found, on this planet, we would consider alien. It's not from here. We can't find its chemical makeup within, what we know to exist as far as elements. So therefore it's alien. So anything that will come here that we will find has not been categorized or put on the periodic tables, that's how they will look at it. But for the most part, we can look at every single thing and see not only is it within us, but it's out there, and we know we can find it. We know what it is. So you have scientists basically find it was a meteor with crystals in it that basically contain the entire makeup of us, within the crystal. Now it says, a step closer to finding aliens, building blocks of life are found in two 4.5 billion year old meteorites that fell to Earth 2 decades ago. Crystals found in two meteorites contain the essential molecules of life, amino acids, hydrocarbons, and liquid water found on 4.5 billion year old rocks. The meteors landed on Earth in 1998, but the technology of the time wasn't capable of detecting the important chemicals. It says the small halide crystals, salt containing, were found to contain the amino acids, liquid water, and hydrocarbons. Amino acids form the basis of proteins, and hydrocarbons are organic compounds made up of hydrogen and carbon. All of these being essential elements to create human life. So if you have, when you think about it, out there in space floating, the elements that make up not just us, but the planet, that should tell you what? It could possibly be life out there. Only thing that's missing is the energy and the knowledge to put together these elements into the amounts needed to create the makeup of anything that we see here. It's just that simple. See, it's hard for people to grasp because a lot of people are still thinking about in terms of, stuff's just happening. Like, the reason why we got to look at us is because we are seriously complex. I mean, it just don't get no more complex. You can look at a lot of stuff you can look at and say, okay, well, I can see how that could have happened and came together to form certain things. The only thing I say that about is rocks. Plain and simple. It's rocks. That's the only thing to me that possibly can't be a coincidence. That can be a coincidence. Just rocks, because it is what it is. But when you think about trees, when you think about, humans and animals, I mean, we talk about complexity. There is intelligence in that design. Something had to have a knowledge to understand, to put this stuff together and to have it function and work the way that it's working. When you understand this stuff, there's a creator. And that's how you got to look at it. I mean, the human body, the woman's body, it had to be coded with the information to recreate itself. That's just sophistication. That is knowledge. That is something that's just can't be an accident. It's too complex. It's too complex. So, and when you think along those type of lines and you think about the complexity of us and how you got to have this amount of hydrogen atoms plus this amount to create this, and then these two elements can't mix because it's going to have this type of reaction. No way in the world a coincidence can do all of that complexity to give us what we see today and hold the power of the human spirit, the energy, the soul. It's just not right, which animates it. So, as I said, I could put all this stuff together. We can go out and do what they basically done with the DNA crystals. But what is going to animate the body? We can clone and make this and that. What is going to animate it? What is going to give it that spark, that life? Where are we going to get that from? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. So we got to think about that. That is just giving you a big key into what we must be and what they know about us. So we got to look at Africa. Makes sense in a lot of ways of it being so rich and the minerals and everything that we see that make up, things that we need for computer components, so on and so forth. A lot of those minerals and crystals can be found in Africa, which is why they go there, they're mining there. And it's almost as if, if it was the cradle of civilization of life started there. I mean, it kind of sort of makes sense when you have that abundance of elements needed for humans. So, to answer the question, because we basically started out talking about, what is the truth? What is the facts about all this? The thing is this, you got to look at crystals. And I kind of gave you the hint back there when I talked about the pressure of these crystals. The pressure giving you this magnetic electricity, the pressure creating this electricity. And we're talking about movement. We're talking about stuff happening with the crystals to give it this energetic property, to make this stuff happen. Now, they put crystals in phones and TVs and so on and so forth. It's not just that it's just sitting there working. Electricity is introduced, when you plug it in a wall, so on and so forth. And with cell phones, you can circulate that energy for a certain amount of time. Your battery dies out, you got to recharge. But in every case, it's just like the body. If I build a body, where's electricity going to come from to animate it? Where's the energy going to come from to animate it? I can build a phone. It's not going to work if I don't plug it in and turn it on and give it that juice. So in these cases, we're talking about action, something happening. Here's the key, plain and simple. The reason why your crystals are not working, the reason why your stones are just sitting around looking stupid, looking pretty, I should say, it's because they're not doing anything. It takes action, motion to get it to work. And you see a lot of the monks, a lot of the yogis, they'll walk around with little bags of crystals, rocks, like you got when you got this video. Here they are right here. And this is the key right here. This is the thing. Energy. You have to understand that, what's happening when you have these stones. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to include them so you can understand. First of all, one, and some of you felt this soon as you take them out and you have them in your hand, you can feel that. You feel it right here. Am I correct? You feel it here. You feel the energy. That's your heart energy. You feel it circulating through these stones. You're dead if you don't. When you rub them close, you feel that. You feel that when you shake them. You feel it. It's a funny type feeling, but it's the energy. Now, if I'm shaking my hand like this constantly, you can't see it. You can't see the electricity, but am I producing energy? Yes, I am. You can feel the wind. I'm creating sound. There's motion. That's energy. And I told you guys, don't get confused and mixed up when we're talking about energy as far as, how it relates to the human body. Because when you're moving, there's energy. You just can't see it. Energy is being produced. You are energy. So energy is happening. You're creating energy when you do stuff. Now, creating energy, not per se, but using your energy, showing what you are when you make movements. So it's the thing. That's the trick with these. You have to put energy into them in order for it to work. These properties are not going to work. You are human. You flesh. It takes energy to activate them. So you hear people say stuff like, put them in the sun. Also, good idea. Stuff was made to charge, to heal. Have a nice amethyst here. You can look on the back clearly. That's earth back there. That's earth. Let me turn the light down. That's rock. It don't get no more ground than that. A lot of you have these in your homes where you can see, what that is and how that works. So, amethyst. Good form. This is good to have next to your TVs to basically absorb that negative radiation, that negative energy that's fucking with your brain. This just absorb all that. It's automatically activated as soon as you set it next to your TV. Plain and simple. Put it out in the sun. Let it absorb that. Recharge. This will help you out. I keep this right next to my TV. It's good to have. This is another good crystal right here. And my Superman crystal, I call it. I use this one a lot to, if I could demonstrate, if I take one of these crystals and you can kind of sort of strike it like a match here. The camera won't pick up on it because I tried to do it so I could show you guys. But it basically looks like this.
This is a piece of quartz crystal that we're going to try to demonstrate the triboluminescence effect. We're going to be scraping this quartz crystal with another small stone, and we'll be doing it like so. And we're going to see if we can get the flashes of light that are characteristic of triboluminescence with this quartz crystal. So let's dim the light. And see if we can get some. There we go. As you can see, we have actually produced light by scraping this quartz crystal with another piece of quartz stone.
Now, it was basically to take this, and something like this amethyst here and sparkle together, you'll see that effect. And I tried to show you guys on camera, but, it wouldn't pick up that light. But you can do this experiment at home. You can do it at home if you have a good quartz and you have one of the stones that you got. If you bought the packets with the stones, strike it on it like a match. You will get that light every time. In fact, it'll smell like electrical something burning. But you got to look at it again. These crystals, these rocks having these electric conducting properties make sense to why the Egyptians used sandstone and a lot of the stones that they used to build a lot of the temples. Because they have these properties, these energy conducting properties. So it makes sense why they use these stones to build it. We carry around these stones and crystals today. So did the ancient Egyptians. It says here, one of the biggest historical proponents of healing crystals, the Egyptians buried their dead with quartz upon their forehead. This was believed to help guide the departed safely into the afterlife. Pharaohs toted cylinders filled with quartz to balance the Ba and Ka energies of the body. Strongly associated with the sky goddess Isis, crushed lapis lazuli stones were most notably worn by ladies of royalty, like Cleopatra, upon the eye to promote enlightenment and awareness. Dancers donned rubies in their navels to foster their sex appeal. Many wore crystals over the heart to attract love, and placed crystal-laden crowns upon their head to stimulate enlightenment and awaken the third eye. They carried them around. You'll see a lot of monks. You'll see a lot of chants and a lot of rituals begin with the shaking of these crystals and stones to spark up that energy. Plain and simple, there's something that's right there that exists. You didn't create the energy, it's already there. You're just able to see it with that clash of the stones or what have you. But it's already there. It's showing you that the energy is there and it exists. And by creating that friction is how you can actually see it. But the proper use of these stones is just that. Smart people, they walk around with them in their pockets. A lot of people who wear them for earrings is good. The one hitting them, any type of movement, any type of clashing. Like me, I walk around the house and I'm thinking, I'll just have the rocks in my hands and I rub them together. I shake them up, stuff like that. I keep them in front of my computer desk and I'm always touching them, always messing around. You have Philip Plein. Now, Philip Plein is a guy who I like. I have some of his stuff. And he has these shirts that kind of sort of look like this. In fact, it looks like this. It basically has crystals in them. A lot of people know who he is. And he gets the idea. In one of the articles I was reading, that he was talking about the power of crystals and understanding that it's a part of you. And he got the whole concept of crystals being in us and us having this connection with crystals and this energy circulation. And that's just basically, understanding the use of crystals, physically, how you can, by shaking them, how, clashing them together like it shows in the video, how you can see this energy. But to use them the proper way, again, meditation, sleep. It's just that simple. You're not going to walk around constantly shaking crystals all day long. You're exerting energy while trying to, absorb energy. It's going to be tough to do. Sleep. There it is, meditation. Now, you and your energetic form can relate and bond with these crystals, with this energy on that level. Plain and simple. So if you sleep in and you have these crystals on your body or near your body, then you can begin to reap the benefits of these crystals. And that's their proper use for it. You not having no knowledge of that, nothing's going to happen. A lot of people have crystals in their room. A lot of people sleep with a crystal under their bed or under their pillow, so on and so forth. Stuff like this is good. This is like the proper use a lot of times for crystals. I don't want to go too much into what specific crystals are used for what specific thing because it's going to take all day. I gave you really the crystals that you need, the rocks that you should have. And of course, you're going to have, quartz in the house. amethyst, of course, stuff like that, rose quartz, a lot of different stones that's out there that's beautiful, that has, you know, different properties. And for the most part, you have people who understand the properties, but not how to really use it or how to apply it to you. This is something that we're talking about on an energetic level that can only be, you know, accessed energetically. And you can't do that in your physical form unless you apply motion, striking, some type of energy exerted with the crystal or rock to, you know, release that form of energy. And a lot of cases you can feel it, some you can't. But I guarantee you, when you're shaking those crystals in your hand, when you walk around, if you shake them in a little velvet bag it came in, it's energy. You're getting that. Plain and simple. When you sleep as well, you got electronics in the house, keep them around. I'm not going to tell people, and I definitely hate to see a lot of people say that, you know, they don't work, they don't do nothing, there's no purpose for them, because they, you know, don't have the knowledge to understand what that is. And one of the reasons for this video is to get people into that proper understanding. And it's something that you got to be one of us and have that esoteric knowledge and understanding of how energy works and how stuff work, to even be, you know, interested in them, or to have some kind of understanding in the proper application or proper use of crystals, the proper use of crystals, instead of just having them to sit around and look pretty and just collect too many of them for no reason at all. You know, putting them into their proper use, adding energy to them to extract the energy out. That's how you should be using them. So again, to kill that article, finally, it says here, what we know about healing crystals. Concepts of electromagnetism as proven by James Clerk Maxwell and their interdependent nature, along with the various breakthroughs in quantum theory, have given us scientific evidence for what the ancients always knew. Because everything vibrates at certain frequencies, they have the ability to shift and alter the frequencies of other objects or bodies when they occupy the same space. Hence, you want to be near these crystals, as I said, when they vibrate, and shake them up. Hence, a crystal which vibrates at its own frequency, oscillations, vibrates within our own energy field through the physical law of resonance and creates a larger vibrational field affecting the nervous system and transmitting the information to the brain. In essence, these connecting vibrations can harmonize frequencies and stimulate biochemical shifts that affect physical health in a positive, healing way. So when the article is talking about the placebo effect, which is basically you using your own energy to make something work based upon what you believe. So I can just amp up this pill and say this pill is going to heal your headache. It's the best pill on the market. It works for everybody 100% of the time. And you take the pill and then your headache goes away. But really the pill is nothing. You know, that's you know, the placebo effect. You thinking something or expecting something to work. And because you expect it, it works. But really it's you, it's your own energy. And a lot of people attribute that same thing to crystals. So when you go into the different types of crystals, they're supposed to, you know, do this and that and heal this and that. A lot of people want to attribute that to the placebo effect and say, you know, it's you having the knowledge, you believing that this crystal is supposed to heal this crystal is supposed to activate that. You having this understanding and that knowledge, it's you that's making it happen. And, you know, after all, this stuff is all in you anyway. And what these crystals are supposed to do for you, you should be able to do for yourself. And that's basically what it boils down to. I'm not saying nobody should get them. Of course, I have them. It's something that can definitely aid you and your spirituality and your growth as a, you know, spiritual person. Definitely helps with that. When you have these crystals around and you have this understanding of what these crystals are supposed to do, and you're actively meditating and manifesting what you want using crystals, it's going to work for you. It's going to happen for you. And if you don't have that understanding of all the connections that go with it, which we just talked about, and how this stuff is not spooky, it's far from it, and how we're talking about something that's basically within you and how you should be able to connect with it, you know, it all makes sense. So using that same aspect and talk about that same thing, you have to put that in the same context as a lot of other stuff that, you know, people say you shouldn't touch, that is part of your makeup, which we'll get into. But with crystals, it's just plain to see. The science, the article said, is not there. Clearly, we showed you, and definitely the video shows you, there's science there. Now, as it pertains to us, if we're energy and it's energy, there it is. Plain and simple. So that same effect is, of course, it's going to have some kind of interaction with the human body and the human energy. If you're producing energy with these crystals, then we are, in fact, have that same makeup. There should be a connection. Now, the issue is how to connect. How to connect, when to connect, what is the connection going to produce for you? And that's based upon what your consciousness puts out and perceives for each individual crystal to do for you. So if you think this crystal is going to heal you, it'll heal you. You think this crystal is going to make you smarter, so on and so forth. But definitely not something we should shun away from. As I said, you go back and look in ancient Egyptian times and a lot of the antiquities. Still to this day, civilizations, they have crystals, they use crystals, and they get out of it what they get out of it. The knowledge must be understood by people who have conscious minds and rational thinking and understanding, to put stuff like this out of the realm of spookism and put it into the right context of something that's possible and something that we can basically put our trust into and use, on a regular basis. I use them every day. I work with them every day, and meditation, and use them in a lot of different forms. And we'll be getting more into this type stuff as we go along. But I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch and purchase and support. Thanks to everybody that's watching on Merkabah Academy who took the time to become a member. A lot more are going to be coming like this, and it's just a lot more going to be coming to this site. I've been working hard to put all this together, and as I said, it's part of a larger, platform that's going to be releasing. I've been working on for years, so this is part of it. It's a major part of it. We're going to really start here and turn this over to something major, something big that we're going to be able to use, that everybody's going to be able to use and benefit from down the line. But I'll try, and I'm going to keep trying to get videos out to make things more easier to understand when it pertains to things like crystals and religion and so on and so forth. It's knowledge, it's information. A lot of people are lost because they just don't know. People don't know where to begin to look. People, they'll get books and everything, and they don't know how to actually go about doing the research or how to make it make sense. So it's something I'm actually good at that, I try to put out to get people to understand, how stuff is and how stuff works. So thank you guys for taking the time to purchase and support and watch. And I'm going to see you guys next video. Thanks to all the members, as I said before. And again, with the DVDs, please take advantage. Try to get the DVDs, as I said, if you can get them all. I have told a lot of people they're going to be gone, which they will be. I told a lot of people to basically take a look at the payment plan if you can't afford to buy it all at once. But they're available right now. They won't be for too much longer. They will definitely go out of sale because it's just not a lot of people buying DVDs, and it actually costs me money to keep them on file for Trepstar, the company that produces the DVDs and makes them and sends them out to you guys. They charge you for stuff like that. I don't have time to print and ship DVDs, so and this other companies are basically shying away from DVDs, and it's not worth it with Blu-rays to do that. It's going to cost too much, to you guys, so it's not worth it. But it's just not worth it. A lot of people buying more of the digital downloads and flash drives, so we're going to stick with that route. And DVD players are going to go the way of VCRs and VHS, what have you. Tapes, they're going to be done with. A lot of people are going to stick with digital, and there's a lot more coming out that's digital. I don't mind them personally, DVDs and stuff like that, especially Blu-rays. But I can understand why people don't grab a lot of the DVDs. But it's good to have, the hard copies as well, because you have them. You never know. But thank you guys for watching. See you next video.